Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have JP Lee, Product Manager with VanEck, to discuss how to gain access to companies participating in the digital asset ecosystem. JP, it's great to see you again. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Hey, Jill. How you doing? Nice to be here.
All right. Thanks for joining us again. And what are the different opportunities within the digital asset space you're looking at right now?
Yeah, so things are kind of evolving, and we've kind of evolved our thinking along with it. And we view kind of multiple opportunities right now in the digital asset ecosystem. So you've got your traditional store of value, which would be a Bitcoin, which isn't like doing anything. It's just a currency or a medium of exchange or store of value. So there's no project associated with it, and there's no application being built on top of it. And then you've got these growth opportunities out there. And that's what our ETF digital transformation DApp is tracking. It's tracking the public equity growth opportunity, companies that are doing business within the digital assets ecosystem. And you've also got private companies that are doing the same types of things that the public companies are doing. And then you've got these tokens, right? And the tokens are where people can really kind of get lost and kind of wander around in left field by themselves. The way to think about tokens are they're usually associated with a project that's trying to solve a specific solution, whether that is a metaverse NFT or some kind of a smart contract swap platform. It's trying to do something. So you can participate in the tokens by buying them in the exchanges and participating, or buying them and holding them, hoping they go up. And then finally, there's fixed income, right? So this is one of the newer areas, and you can get into a staking or a token swap. You can buy a coin on one of the exchanges and then loan it out to a counterparty and then generate income right there. So what this ETF and what we're really focused on for the purposes of this conversation is the public equity opportunity set.
All right. And I think a really important distinction that newer investors should understand, JP, is an investment in digital assets the same as investing in a digital asset company?
No, it's completely different. And it's, you think about it like the characteristics of an investment of something like Bitcoin, where there's no CEO, there's no shareholders. An investment in Bitcoin is an investment in Bitcoin. If you invest in a company that's doing business related to Bitcoin in some way, shape, or form, or in digital assets, this is a company. They have shareholders, they have a CEO, they're trading on a regulated exchange. It's a completely different animal, right? And the goal of these companies is to grow their business, to grow their revenues, to grow their users. And in a lot of ways, they're trying to kind of diversify their fortune away from what the price of, let's say, Bitcoin is, right? And these companies want to be in business and growing, whether Bitcoin is trading at 10,000 or trading at 100,000. And that's what a lot of these companies are doing right now. Like, for example, Coinbase, a lot of their revenues are generated from these transactions as people are trading and buying and selling digital assets. They're trying to branch out into new areas because they want to kind of protect their business. And that's really the core here is, sure, these companies are working in the digital asset space and probably correlated, but they're not the same thing. It's a different animal.
All right. And so, JP, how can we gain access to companies participating in the digital asset ecosystem?
Yeah, great question. So we have an ETF for that. It's called the VanEck Digital Transformation ETF. The ticker is DAPP. And really the key takeaways here are it's pure play. So to be initially eligible for inclusion in the ETF and index, you have to have over 50% of your revenues coming from digital assets or heavily invested in digital asset projects, or even own a large percentage of digital assets on your balance sheet. So that's our ETF, and it excludes those companies which sure might have something going on in the digital asset space. You can think of the FANG stocks. I'm sure all have a little, a digital asset or blockchain department somewhere, but from a revenues point of view, they're not pure. And we want to keep those wishy-washy names out of the index and ETF.
All right. And to wrap up here, what does the portfolio look like and how does it fit within a broader client portfolio?
Yeah. So when you take those rules and you apply them to the universe, you come out with a pure concentrated exposure to digital asset companies. And you've got really low overlap and really low correlation with the broad equity market. So even though these are stocks, and in some cases very large stocks, they're not in the S&P 500. They're not in the the Nasdaq 100, and so you don't own these stocks in your normal core equity portfolio, right? So this basket fits within that growth, innovation, disruption sleeve, or even we've had conversations with clients that are looking at as an alternatives basket. So small allocation, uncorrelated returns, and we're looking for alpha potential. And this ultimately is a way to participate in the digital asset story by investing in equity-only securities within the traditional ETF wrapper.
Anything else to know as it relates to the broader landscape, particularly within the financial services industry?
Sure. So, I mean, blockchain technology is this really disruptive force in the global economy. It's really important to emphasize we're very early. So from a timeline point of view, financial services industry is being disrupted right now, right? Smart contracts, even a company like Coinbase is an example of a company that is a digital asset exchange competing in some ways with, Nasdaq or NYSE and ICE, right? So the disruption is happening in finance. Going forward, we're going to see more consumer-facing disruption. So right now, NFTs are the hot spot, and that's really has a direct link to video gaming. Ownership of the digital item within a game that's linked to a blockchain. Going forward over the next few years, we're going to see FANG disruption. And when I say FANG disruption, I mean the FANG stocks are targets for these blockchain companies. And why? The reason why is the blockchain ecosystem brings transparency, efficiency, and ultimately lower costs that are passed on to consumers. So consumer-facing tech disruption is on the horizon, and when it happens, the Amazons of the world, may definitely go the way of the blockbuster, right? So that is the size of the revolution that we're kind of anticipating. So I really appreciate your time very much, and I hope you have a great rest of your Friday.
That is a bold call. Very interesting, JP. Great to see you as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.